Michael Vogel said ESPN Alexa Philippou with details on WNBA agents' call for more transparency and communication from the players' union. Behind the scenes, agents have been talking about the issues for months. So I haven't heard anything about agents saying anything in regards to the current CBA negotiation situation. Now, Alexa Philippou did do an interview with ESPN.
If you think this is just normal negotiations, you're not paying attention. When the agents of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buchers all send formal letters demanding transparency, that's not routine business, that's a full-blown red alert. We're talking about the three biggest brands in women's basketball, and their camps are basically saying, show us the receipts. That tells you everything about how messy these CBA talks have gotten. And here's the wild part. We're just 74 days away from tip-off, and there's still no deal in sight. The clock is ticking, the pressure is building, and the vibes? Absolutely tense. But don't just take my word for it. Check this out.
The revenue sharing system remains first and foremost the most important matter right now. The league is proposing a system where the players would receive about 70% of net revenue. That's revenue after deducting expenses, versus the players are asking for a system where they'd get about 27.5.
See, that's the whole deal here. Just like I keep telling y'all, this revenue sharing is simply because of the old players. The old players, for whatever reason, they want to make sure that they be able to get some type of revenue sharing, but I just don't think the owners are going to budge on that, man.
That was intense, right? You can literally feel the tension in that room. Now look at that difference and tell me this isn't a straight-up financial showdown. We're talking 70% of net revenue versus 27.5% of gross revenue. Those aren't just two random numbers thrown on a spreadsheet, that's two completely different economic playbooks. One model flips the entire system on its head, and the other keeps the league structure intact. That gap right there. That's why this situation feels like it's heading toward the first real work stoppage in WNBA history. Now let's break it down in clutch terms. Under the players' proposal, Year 1 salary cap jumps to $9.5 million per team. Under the league's counter, $5.65 million. That's a $4 million swing per franchise. And somebody has to eat that cost. Owners aren't trying to write that check without guarantees. Players aren't trying to settle for what they see as crumbs in a booming era. This isn't just business, it's a high-stakes power move on both sides. And when you see how the league responded to that massive gap, yeah, you're going to want to hear this next part.
So I couldn't find the whole interview, but let's listen to this segment right here, guys.
Truly an inflection point in this league as they try to get this thing hammered out, though. I do want to go to the calendar of some of the things to look at over the next coming months in the WNBA offseason. The women's Final Four wraps up in Cleveland on April 5th. The WNBA draft is April 13th, and the regular season begins on May 8th. And there's two expansion franchises debuting this year in Toronto and Portland. So that's kind of a look ahead to the season beginning. Alexa, what still needs to be hammered out by the two sides before then?
That clip says it all. You can hear the frustration boiling over. And now we get to the second biggest pressure point in this whole saga. Housing. Yeah, housing. For 28 years this league has treated housing like a side perk, a nice little bonus teams handle outside the salary cap. But now the union wants it locked in, standardized, upgraded. No more handshake vibes. Because when you're a rookie making $64,000 and bouncing between temporary spots set up by your team, that's not just a benefit. That's your real life. That's your comfort. That's your stability during an 11 out of 10 grind season. And here's where it gets even more savage. Notice who's raising the alarm. It's not players going on IG Live. It's not cryptic tweets. It's agents. Business minds. Cap specialists. People who've negotiated in other leagues and know exactly how CBA chess is supposed to be played. And they're basically saying, we're not even being kept in the loop. That's not minor miscommunication, that's a breakdown in structure. When the professionals who understand the money mechanics start questioning transparency, you know this thing is deeper than just salary numbers. And what happens next? That's where the real beef explodes.
Before we get into that video, I want to show you guys the group of agents that has sent out information pretty much letting us know exactly which player's agent said something, and that's what we finna dive into right now, man. Shout out to the homeboy Mike over on Twitter. He shared this here. Excuse me, guys. He shared this here late last night, and I want to share this here with you guys. He stated, whoa, if this is true,
That right there. That wasn't random name dropping. That was a power roll call. We're talking Lindsay Kagawa representing Brianna Stewart. Aaron Kane, who was tied to Caitlin Clark before her move within the agency. Gina Brondolo backing Angel Reese. And agents connected to elite talent across the league. These aren't fringe representatives scrambling for minimum deals. These are the power brokers. The heavy hitters. The people who negotiate max contracts and brand empires. And here's the wild part. They're being kept in the dark about negotiations that will shape their clients' earnings for the next decade. That's not a small oversight. That's a structural red flag. The letter they sent. Super calculated. No strike threats. No wild financial ultimatums. Just one simple demand. Include us in the final stages. Because historically, in pro sports, that's normal. Agents are in the room when the real numbers get locked in. But read between those polite lines and the energy shifts. The message is crystal clear. We don't trust what's happening behind closed doors. And when trust starts breaking down between agents, players, and the union, that's when negotiations stop being business and start becoming a standoff. And what the league did after that? Yeah, that's where things get even more heated.
And I think they are the ones holding up the process.
Gross revenue, that's revenue before deducting expenses. So you have a different system, you have a different percentage, and the best way I could probably illustrate the difference is if you look at the salary cap under year one of the proposals that both sides are proposing. For the players, they would say the year one salary cap would be around $9.5 million. And for the league, it would be around $5.65 million. So a big difference to bridge there. You also have the league and the union disagreeing on whether the union's proposal would result in significant losses for the league. The second most important issue is to figure out housing because teams have historically provided it for players. We've seen a lot of movement on that front and these proposals that have been exchanged over the past few weeks after a stalemate really to begin 2026. And it's my understanding that the players and the league are also meeting. They met earlier today, I should say, and we'll see.
Man, the clock is ticking and the tension is off the charts. March 10th, that's the hard deadline. If a new deal isn't inked by then, everything grinds to a halt. We're talking draft day on April 13th, season tip-off May 8th, and two brand new expansion teams in Toronto and Portland ready to make their debut. Tickets sold, staff hired, marketing campaigns primed, all riding on the assumption that a season actually happens. One wrong move, and that whole machine stalls. And today, the league and union met, yep, according to Alexa Filippo at ESPN, but here's the thing, showing up to a meeting doesn't equal progress. They've been locked in a stalemate for months, each side dug in on the core question. How do you structure revenue sharing? And now, shocker, even the agents representing the top-tier players don't have full visibility into what's on the table. When the people who control the money don't know the score, you know this saga is about to get savage. Wait until you see what happens next.
Just illustrated 74 days until the start of the regular season, a lot to hammer out before then.
Yeah, just February 23rd, May 8th is when this thing tips off. A lot of news. You'll be there to cover with it. Alexa, thank you so much.
So that was Alexa Philippou, man, kind of letting us know exactly what is going on. Now, the dates was released last night in this article right here that she did, how they ran out a plan of action for the WNBA draft, for the WNBA lottery. But at the end of the day, the deadline is March the 10th. No matter what they put out, no matter what they say, they have to get this deal done.
That clip really lays it out. You gotta understand the difference between gross and net revenue to see why this fight is blowing up. Gross revenue. That's all the cash the league pulls in before any bills get paid. TV deals, ticket sales, merch, sponsorships, expansion fees, you name it. Net revenue. That's what's left after the league covers salaries, travel, facilities, marketing. Basically, the cost of running the show. Players are pushing for a cut of gross because it's clean, verifiable, and transparent. You can audit TV contracts and expansion fees. No smoke, no mirrors. Net revenue. That's trusting the league's books, and let's be real, history shows pro leagues have a habit of claiming losses while team valuations soar. Case in point, the WNBA just sold those Toronto and Portland expansion franchises for $50 million each. That's $100 million cash upfront. The players want to know how much of that pile they actually get under a gross revenue model. And when you factor in the stakes here, yeah, the tension is about to hit another level in the next clip.
Ain't no ifs, ands, ain't no buts. No matter how bad they feel as if they owed some money, due some money, at the end of the day, if they do not get this deal done, everybody's going to be affected. And the reason why these agents is putting in letters is because they getting money off this too. The agents get a piece of all these players' contracts and money like that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think in the pros, well, at least in the NFL, that's how it is. It's 2 to 3% of net revenue of their contracts. I don't know what it is in the W, but the fact of the matter is they need a plan of action to make sure they meet this deadline.
That last clip. Yeah, it adds a whole new layer to the beef. The WNBA has been riding on NBA subsidies for most of its life, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has admitted the league lost money in past seasons, but also that recently, profits have been rolling in. 2024 flipped the script. TV ratings exploded, driven almost entirely by Caitlin Clark's rookie season, attendance shattered records, and merch sales went through the roof. The league's economic landscape changed overnight. So when the league warns that the players' revenue-sharing proposal could tank finances, they're leaning on historical models that might not even fit today's reality. And when players push for a bigger slice, they're looking at a pie that just got massive, practically doubling in size. Both sides are holding legitimate cards, and that's exactly why this negotiation is such a high-stakes, tension-packed showdown. But don't blink, because the next clip reveals just how raw and real this standoff has gotten.
Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, all had their agents send letters to the WNBPA. It said the letter was signed by 9 prominent player agents, including Lindsay Kaja, Brianna Stewart agent, Paige Beckers, Jada, I'm not even finna try to do that, Asia Wilson, Aaron Kane, Caitlin Clark, Gina Perdosa, Angel Reese, Dominic Malunga, and Kayla.
That was a wild ride, right? Agents aren't just worried about their cut. They're playing defense for their clients, making sure no one signs a deal that looks good on paper today but locks them out of real growth tomorrow. Imagine being Caitlin Clark's agent while the union is negotiating an 8-year CBA right as she's driving record-breaking ratings. You'd be laser-focused on making sure her deal captures the league's growth, not just locks in historical numbers from lower revenue seasons. The timing of these agent letters is savage. Final stages of negotiation, hard deadline looming, and they're essentially demanding to be in the room, not to negotiate themselves, but to advise their clients. Because once that CBA is signed, you're stuck until it expires. And the league's momentum. It's never been higher. 2024 brought mainstream eyes, casual fans, media buzz. The league finally cracked open the door it's been banging on for 28 years. Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, they're next up, the next wave of star power. Missing a season now isn't just inconvenient. It could derail years of growth, and casual fans won't wait around. Both sides know the stakes, yet here we are, 17 days from March 10th with no deal, letters flying, and the clock ticking on the draft, free agency, and the season opener. Housing, revenue sharing, transparency, everything's on the table. The players want gross revenue because it's predictable and fair. The league worries about basing long-term contracts on one exceptional season. Agents are fighting to protect their stars. Union leadership is navigating the whole roster, and the league is balancing risk with opportunity. Optimistically, the deadline forces a compromise. Revenue sharing moves closer to the players, housing gets standardized, and the season kicks off on time. Pessimistically, negotiations drag, the draft is delayed, momentum stalls, and worst case, a work stoppage, either a lockout or a strike. Fans lose, money is lost, and the WNBA's hard-earned growth stalls. So here's the cliffhanger. If you're a player who just watched Caitlin Clark set the league on fire, do you take a safe deal that could leave money on the table or push for gross revenue and risk losing the season? That's the choice the union faces right now. No easy answers. No guarantees. Just 74 days until tip-off and the biggest story in women's basketball hanging in the balance. Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell because this saga is only getting wilder, and you do not want to miss a single moment of it.